Hello, Hampstead Baptist Church. I wanted to come to you for just a couple of minutes. Well, try to keep it to a couple of minutes and share a couple things with you. We're going to have a great week this week. It's Easter week. Tonight, this is Wednesday, so we're going to have a midweek worship service. It's kind of a spur of the moment thing, but we're looking forward to that. Chris and I both are going to preach short messages. And we'll do some singing and so forth. But then, of course, we have men's breakfast this Saturday, a sunrise service, and just looking forward to a great Easter worship. It's always so good, and we have the greatest thing in the world to celebrate, so hard to make that bad. But then, Ramona and I had plans to take a vacation starting the day after Easter, so that Monday. Well, so we would miss the following Sunday. But through a series of circumstances and talking with some folks, I'm actually going to take some extra time. And there's some reasons for that. I'll try to make it as brief as I can to just kind of share with you. I've been here, if you count the time when I first started as interim and all of that, which is basically pastoring the church, it's been over 8 years. And I cannot believe it's been that long in that short a time. So I've actually set the record for being here. It's just God's grace for sure. But it's been a good 8 years, but a long 8 years, in particular the last 3 years. We've just been pounded with things. This is a busy church. I was talking with Miss Wendy and some others today about how busy this church is. And she said she's never seen a church this size to be this busy. So just the normal tasks that a pastor has to do in a church like this week after week can be very draining. Not complaining at all. I don't want you all to take it that way, but just trying to help you understand the reality of it. So just the the normal things that happen is hard to keep up with. But then all the extra things that go on, especially in a busy church, begins to you have to really watch yourself to make sure you rest and so forth. And you add a phone in on that where you're accessible constantly. There's never a time when you're not available. And you can never disconnect. You just can't. That's ministry. I knew that coming in. I know that. But it's still, if you're not careful, it can catch up with you. Then the last 3 years have been extremely difficult, not only for me, but for everybody. So we had the hurricane and, had the whole entire rebuilding thing, which was great, really. I mean, it was hard, but it was very objective. We knew what to do, and we went about our business. And I kind of thrive in that kind of setting. You know what to do. You pull people together, and you do it, and it can even be exciting. God gave us an entire new sanctuary and some other things through that. So we praise the Lord for that, but it was still tiring. So that kind of weighs on you a little bit. But then, right on the heels of that, was this pandemic that happened. We opened our sanctuary in October of 2019. March of 2021, the pandemic hit. So we were in here only a few months. We had to shut down. And that pandemic was different than anything any of us had ever dealt with. Pastors went into survival mode. You just cannot imagine the weight that is on you. What's going to happen? How are our people doing? Many, we're getting sick, and then there's so much responsibility you feel like on your shoulders. Now, if you're wise, you'll pass that on to the Lord. But we're human, and sometimes we take on too much on ourselves. So we thought we had gotten through that, and things started picking back up. We opened back up, and then bam, it hit us again. This time it hit our church. The first round of COVID, we did very well in that, although it was taxing and weighty and all of that, but we as a church got through it well. But then the second go round, boy, it targeted us. And last July we had that outbreak, and we had 5, possibly 6 people that could have left us. We did have one to pass away because of that, but we easily could have had 5 or 6 others. We had 20 some people that were sick with COVID, so it was bad. And I had a health department breathing down my neck, calling me constantly. That was an issue, and so many other things that were going on. I've been in ministry 30 years now, pastoral ministry. And was involved in ministry before that, but pastoral ministry for 30 years. So you can't be in ministry that long and not see a lot and experience a lot. And I have, but I can say faithfully and truthfully that last July, that period there was the most stressful and most difficult that I've ever experienced in ministry. It was just hard. It just was. So then God saw us through that. And then beginning in August, had nothing to do with COVID, but beginning in August, from August to through last couple of weeks, we've had 8 people to pass away. 8 what we call stalwarts here at Hampstead Baptist. Solid, wonderful believers. And I told Ramona when I got here, I said, if God leaves me here, I'm going to be the one that will bury these faithful members. They've been through so many pastors, and I'm going to be the one. And I was. And it's kind of an honor in one sense, but it's taxing in another. It's hard to lose these members. They're your sheep. They're beautiful, precious people. So that was difficult as well. And then just the logistics of doing 8 funerals so close together, just a lot to it. Then you put on some other things, just like personal things. You know, I'm human. I have a family and parents that are not well. I don't, you all have been through these things, most of you. You know what it's like, some of you to deal with dementia or Alzheimer's, and then my parents are basically an hour away from here, and that's difficult. If they were here, if I was closer, it'd be much easier, but I'm not. And you couple that with an extremely busy church, very frustrating. It's frustrating from the standpoint of you want to do more, but it's hard. It's just hard. So I know I don't have much time left with them, and that's that weighs on you as well. Then other things, I've got a home and a family that I've got to cut grass and I've got to do things too, and it's just hard sometimes to even get to those things. So you add all that in together, and then here's the probably funny part to you all, but I'm not old, but I'm not as young as I used to be. But I still think I am, and I still try to go and do the things that I did when I was 25 and 30. When I first, I was called into ministry at 30 years of age. So it's just different. It's a lot different. I don't bounce back as quickly as I used to. God has given me good health, but I'm still 57 years old, pushing 58. Your body begins to slow down a little bit. And I can tell I've yet to recover from COVID, from the experience that COVID brought. I don't have the energy I had. I just don't have energy anymore, it seems like. And I think it's just because of everything. And I'm just tired. I'm very tired. A lot of other things come into play, and I don't need to share all that with you. You all have been around. You understand how life is. a lot of pastors are quitting. We have an epidemic of pastors quitting. COVID was kind of the last thing that pushed them over the edge. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be a statistic. So long story short, with all that being said, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. Vacation that you all have given me, but I'm going to take them together. I never do that. I've never done that in my entire ministry. Probably should have. So I'm going to take this next. Well, let me tell you quickly how that came about. I talked to the deacons about just praying for me. Good guys. They quickly, I think, read me better than I read myself and began to share some things with me and even encouraged me to take time off. And initially I'm like, I can't do that, But then Pastor Chris, thank the Lord for Pastor Chris, and he is a godsend. God put him here at the perfect time. He came to me and he said, look, Meredith is going to be home for another couple of days, a couple of weeks or whatever, and with the child, with Elijah. And so I've got a little extra time. He's part-time, but he said, I've got a little extra time. So why don't you take another week off? And so I started thinking about it. And, I really think it's what I need. I think if I can just go unplug from my phone, he'll handle everything. Spend some time with my parents, with Ramona and some other things, with Jonah, of course. He's attached to me anyhow. I think I'll come back very refreshed and ready to go. God's doing some great things here. He really is. He's blessing. We seem to be growing, seem to have a lot of energy as a church, except for me. I don't. And that's not a good combination. So I want to be the one leading, on the front end of that. So I just wanted you to know what my plans are. I took over 12 minutes to tell you this, and I apologize. But if anything major happens, I'll be here. I'm not going off. I'm not going out of town or anything. I just need some time to chill out and refresh and get back on track. Okay? So I appreciate you understanding that and having patience with me. Appreciate your prayers, and hopefully nothing major will happen in that time, and I'll come back ready to go. And you're in good hands with Pastor Chris. He'll do anything you need, probably much better than I will. So thank you. If anything changes, I'll let you know, but just appreciate your prayers, appreciate your understanding, appreciate you understanding that when this happens, I'm going to put my phone aside. I have to, and that takes discipline on my part, because it's hard for me to do that, just to unplug in such a mode, and I'll try. So anyhow, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time and patience, and I look forward to this weekend, Easter, and then some time off and coming back and hitting it hard. All right? I love you guys. I'm praying for you, and talk to you soon.